Good afternoon, guys. Leslie at Inskeep Bakers. Oh, it's Monday, so it's kind of catch-up day for me. I've got laundry going. I've been out and done all my chores and ate some lunch. I need to get caught up on all these dishes, but my drain pan is still full of tomatoes. So the first thing I'm going to do now is get all of these ready to go into the freezer. Sometimes I'll just put them whole on the tray, throw the whole tray in the freezer, and then once they're frozen solid, then I will put them in a reusable shopping bag, something that'll stand up to being in the freezer. Some of these are a little soft on one end or may have a bad spot, so I'm just going to go through and just cut the tops off, cut out any spots, and all of the stuff I cut off will just go in this bowl, and that will go out to the pigs later. So I don't necessarily core my tomatoes, but it is easier when they come out of the freezer if they've been cored or at least one end chopped off, because once you freeze these, then as they start to thaw, the skins shrivel and you can just squeeze one end and the inside, the meat inside, just kind of squishes right out. At least with my normal Romas. These are the San Marzanos. That one's pretty soft. I'm just going to give the whole thing to the pigs. So I think once we get these done, Joe, I don't know if it'll be before or after dishes, but I need to make some pie crust so that I can use that pumpkin that we had left from our pumpkin butter and get pumpkin pies made. I was looking at maybe doing some baking today, but it's already almost 1:30. So I think getting tomatoes done, pie crust made, and then hopefully getting the pie itself made. I'll probably run out of time. I was trying to figure out what all I needed to get done. The Weather Channel says we're supposed to have about 3 days of rain coming up, and I don't remember if it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something like that. Ryan Hall shows we'll probably only have rain on Friday. He usually tends to be more accurate. So I need to go see if there's any more tomatoes in the garden. I know there's tomatoes, but anything that's still salvageable. There was a lot of stuff that had split or was starting to go bad that I haven't gotten to. I know there's still a lot of peppers that I was waiting to be ripe. I don't think we're gonna really have much for freezing temps that I have to worry too much about it. We have been getting down to 40 at night. But Ryan Hall said it's supposed to be even colder. So to be on the safe side, I need to go harvest anything that I can. And I did start a jalapeno pepper ferment. I just did it the same as I do my sriracha, and it's just peppers, garlic, and salt. I don't know if we'll keep it separate. If I'll do, I really like the Tabasco's jalapeno sauce, their chipotle sauce. So I don't know if I'll mix, I might mix some of it with the Tabasco when it's done. I might leave it as just a plain jalapeno sauce. We'll see. It's the first time I've done jalapenos on their own. So we'll see what it tastes like. Some of these are getting pretty gross, so we'll just get rid of them. The pigs won't mind. They'll actually really enjoy them. They've been sitting in here for quite a while. I got distracted on other stuff, so I did make the stuffed jalapenos yesterday. We had a handful of them for dinner. The rest are in the freezer. So we will have to bring those out of the freezer and get them packaged up in order to get these in the freezer. My freezers are over full right now. I'm going to go ahead and finish these up and then take them out to the freezer, and I will probably bring you guys back with me to package up the stuffed jalapenos. I will show you the jalapeno ferment that I have started, and then we'll see about getting the pies done. Okay, here's our stuffed jalapenos, jalapeno poppers, whatever you guys call them. I put a dozen in this bag and vacuum sealed it already. I was trying to kind of split them up. I think we had close to a dozen of them last night, but only 3 of us ate and we had 3 left. So I'm just writing 10/23 because that's the month and year that I'm doing them. Obviously I can clearly see what they are. Anybody in my house should be able to clearly see what they are. If they can't, well then I guess they shouldn't be in my freezer. So we're going to separate them into a couple different size packages. We'll see what we can get in these. I'll get that one to seal. We'll have to see. So my filling that I put in these is just pork sausage, cream cheese, and then I add cheddar cheese. The recipe I have doesn't call for that, and it calls for Parmesan cheese. So I just add the extra cheese. It calls for ranch dressing just for dipping. I usually put some ranch dressing in the stuffing mix. This time I just used my powdered ranch. I don't know if that's gonna seal. Okay, these two with a dozen each sealed pretty well, or vacuumed down really well. These two I didn't quite make didn't quite make the bag big enough, so it had a little bit more trouble getting enough vacuum on them, but I'll just make sure that I use these first. So I've got at least 3 meals. If it's just Jason and I, I'll probably make just one of these small ones. If some of the kids are home, we'll have to do a bigger one. So I'm gonna get those in the freezer. Just wanted to show you, this was my jalapeno ferment in the vacuum bag. It's just the jalapenos and some garlic and the salt. So I did that yesterday, and it's already not as vacuumed as it was, so we'll see how that one tastes. Next thing is going to be pie crusts. Pretty sure I got this recipe from Becky at Acre Homestead, and it's one of the best pie crust I've found that, at least that works for me. Usually my pie crusts don't turn out very well. So, put this thing together. I completely forgot I needed to measure for the new refrigerator. I completely cleaned this refrigerator out right before our party, took everything out, washed the entire thing down. This one is going to go out to the garage, but I needed to measure to make sure I knew how we were going to get the new one in. And it's going to be close if it fits. I'm really hoping I don't have to. If I have to, I will take the countertop off the island to get it around it. I think we'll be able to barely fit it this way. I think it should be able to come this way and then over, and then we can get it rotated or whatever we needed to do into its spot. But I'm not sure. So I guess when they deliver it, if they at least get it into the dining room, if I have to take my countertop off, get it in, and then remount my countertop, that's fine. My dad and I built this countertop. We put the cabinets in and everything, so it won't be that hard to do. I would just prefer not to. Hopefully I can fit it in here. But I do have to take down the upper cabinet and cut about a 1/2 inch off the bottom, because everything we looked at that was a reasonable size was too tall for where the cabinet was put in. So instead of taking the entire cabinet out, we're going to take it down. I'm going to take a 1/2 inch off the bottom, remount it, and we'll be good to go. So yeah, that's what I was doing. Anyway, I need to get the pie crust made because it needs to go in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes before I actually make the pies. I'm going to make this recipe twice. I'm only going to do a single batch at a time. It makes 2 crusts, so that'll get my 2 pumpkin pies. But I'm going to make another batch. That way I have 2 pie crusts in the freezer. Next time I won't have to make one, as long as it's not like a last minute thing. I can pull out 1 crust if I need just a bottom, or 2 if I need top and bottom crusts. So we're going to start, let's see, flour. Oh, looks like we're gonna have to go fill the flour container. Let's see what we can get out of here to start with. Need 2.5 cups of flour. I think we'll be lucky if we even get 1. Definitely get less when I throw it all over the counter. Okay, I have to go fill my flour bin. I keep 5-gallon buckets of most of my things in the garage, so I'll be right back. Okay, flour is now full. So, back to 2.5 cups. And 2 tablespoons of sugar. Teaspoon of salt. Give that just a quick little mix there. And then it calls for a cup of cold butter cut into cubes. So these are each a 1/2 cup. Still have a basket of pears from my friend's trees. I laid them out on a towel on my kitchen table because they needed to ripen. And even though I see them every day, I kind of forgot about them. So some of them are past ripe. I need to give to the pigs. And then the rest of them, I think we're going to chop up and make some pear sauce. So that'll be another project to cook down in the roaster and can. So I'm going to just pulse this a little bit until the butter is about pea-sized pieces. Usually mine gets a little bit less than that. Once it combines with the flour, then we'll add a little bit of ice water, but it's going to be kind of loud. just looks like little bits in there. So, calls for a half cup of ice water plus a couple more tablespoons. Probably gonna spill this all over, but I just add a little bit at a time as I pulse it, and only until it just starts to kind of almost form a ball. You don't want it too wet. Bit more, it's starting to clump up. We're gonna stop there a second. Okay, I got a couple pieces of saran wrap, cling wrap, plastic wrap, whatever. So I'm going to take this out. If there's still a little bit of dry stuff in the bottom, we can add a little more water to it. And I don't want to really mess with this too much with my hands because you do not want to warm that butter up. Try to get it as close to half and half as possible. You can tell a little bit more once you kind of form it, but I'm just going to use the plastic wrap to almost kind of knead it a little bit, just to kind of put it together and not have crumbs. Looks like it has more. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this, add to this one. Those look pretty close to even. And then I'm going to try to kind of press it out into a disc. I don't know, maybe about 3/4 of an inch to an inch thick. It doesn't have to be perfect, but when you start to roll it out, that's going to kind of make your circle. There's one ready for the refrigerator. Okay, I'm going to put those in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes. I'm going to make one more batch to go in the freezer. And then I'm gonna try to probably catch up on dishes, and then I think making pie filling will be next. Well, I got most of the dishes caught up. I think my enameled cast iron pot's the only one it's just soaking. So we're gonna go ahead and make our pumpkin pie filling. What time is it? I guess the crusts have been in the refrigerator for probably an hour and a half, so they are well chilled. I'm gonna make the filling, then we'll get the crusts out and roll those out and put them in our pie plates, and then pour the filling in. Joey, relax. The dog's gonna drive me nuts today. Mama dog was sleeping and got up, so he had to lose his mind. So this is a recipe for a goat milk pumpkin pie that I got off one of my goat Facebook pages. So it calls for 1 1/3 cup sugar, and we're going to use 1 cup of white sugar. Joey, come here. Sit. Stop. Find a spot. So 1 cup of regular sugar, and then we're going to use about 1/3 of a cup. Whatever, I kind of close. It's not going to be exactly 1/3 of a cup, but it'll be close enough. Good boy, Joe. And then, completely missed the 3 tablespoons of flour. So there's 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and put in, calls for 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I guess I told you the other day, Jason's not a big cinnamon guy. It just doesn't sit well with him. So I am going to use 1 teaspoon of just pumpkin pie spice that I blended up. I'm going to go ahead and mix that. I think I've only made this recipe a couple times, probably for Thanksgiving and stuff. But it turned out really good both times. I only have a little bit of goat milk left, and actually this milk, I just looked at the date on it. It was from 9/15, and what is today? 10/9. It's almost a month old in our refrigerator, but it's milked clean, comes in and gets chilled quickly, and it's really cold in the refrigerator that it's in, so it's still perfect. I mean, Kaylee had cereal with it this morning, so I only have probably maybe 2 half-gallon jars left after this one, so we have to use it carefully. But before it goes bad, I do have freeze-dried goat milk that the neighbor freeze-dried for me that we're going to have to try. I have to look up kind of the ratio to reconstitute it. Then it calls for 3 eggs. I did rinse them off because our eggs have been coming in kind of dirty. And they got a little bit of a shell. Oops. I learned a trick. If you use the eggshell to get the shell, it pretty much picks it right up. I probably should be cracking these into a separate dish, and then putting them into my bowl, because you can get fresh eggs, well, you can get any eggs really, that have gone bad. Leah. ahead and mix these things up. Okay, then it says to whisk in the pumpkin, vanilla, and goat milk. Teaspoon and a half of vanilla. And this is our 3 cups of pumpkin. We're going to try to incorporate that. Smells good. Okay, then it says 2 cups of goat milk, go scant by 1/8 of a cup. So I'm going to put just part of this in to begin with. Kind of makes a, I guess, kind of a custard between the milk, eggs, flour. If I remember right, I think I should have written it down on there. I think it was a little bit too much for 2 regular pie plates. Oh, excuse me. So I got out one of my deep ones. If it doesn't fill the deep, oh well, it's not a big deal. Go ahead and put that in. The oven is preheated now at 400. It says to bake it at 400 for 10 minutes, then turn it down to 350 for 40 minutes. So we're going to set this aside. Put this stuff back. And we're going to take out 1 pie crust at a time. That way it stays cool. roll it out so that it will fit in your pie pan. They don't make pretty crusts. You just tuck the extra under. And a pie crust. The other one out. Alright, I'm gonna put these on so I don't burn my crust. And they're gonna go in the oven. We'll rotate them partway through. This one will have to bake longer since it's a deeper pan. We're going to set a timer for 10 minutes and then turn the oven down. Well, we finished dinner. Moved the refrigerator to the garage. And pie is done. This one baked a little too long. That one looks perfect. We made our own whipped topping. And that's it, guys. Have a good day. See you on the next one.